I was preparing. And I learned that just in San Diego alone, I live in Southern California, so this is very close to me. Just in San Diego alone, between September to November 2000, just between those 2 months in 2023, 42,000 migrants were dropped off in San Diego. And the story discussed about how the county of San Diego was struggling to support these migrants. So these itself give us the reason why we should be worried about, or we should be concerned about, how we are serving our immigrant students and our how many refugee students do we have, right? I don't know about you, but I've been looking at it, and I also want to question this to my fellow administrators here today. How many new immigrants or refugees does your school serve? Do you know that number? When I accepted to Cherise that I would be happy to do this presentation today, this month, I thought immediately to myself, how many students do we have who are immigrants and how many students who are refugees? I went back to do the research and looked at our WIOA data. I looked at our CAPE data, and nowhere could I find the numbers, exactly how many students, how many new immigrants we have. So what I did is I went to do a brief action research for our school, and then I did see all these different numbers. We have a fact sheet for our school. You see a picture of it right now. We served 2,423 students last year, and out of that, 64% were female and 35 male. We collect all these data for WIOA as well as CAPE. And we graduated 122 students. We had, a total of 2,379 students that we transitioned. However, there was nowhere we collected this data about immigrants or refugees. So the action research that I did was just between the time I said yes to Cherise and the time until today. I set a little survey for my school students to see how many of them were immigrants. And because we don't really have any data exactly, the survey that I did, about 304 students participated in the survey. And our school right now has 3,155 enrolled. And out of that, as you know, adult students come and go. So we have 1,819 students active. 32% of them are new immigrants. By new immigrants, we had to really define it too by saying, how long have you been in the United States? Only 32% of our students are new immigrants. The rest of them, the following slide will show you more, but 7.5 were refugees. And out of those refugees, most of them were Afghanis, and then you see the rest of them, Nicaragua, Venezuela. So we have to know where our students are from to be able to serve them better, because we know that with immigrants, we have to understand their cultural and linguistic differences and use that to support them. So in our school, in this survey that I did, these are the results here. About 3 years, 98 students out of the 304 participants. As I said, we serve about 3,000. This is 10% of our population. It's a good sample to say our school could, even if we have only 304 participants, we have 3,000 students, so we have a good sample here. Then the refugees too. If you look at this latter half of the page, I asked the question to the students, are you a refugee? And then 17 of them could not even say if they are a refugee or not. So this also tells a lot about, how some students don't know and what we as educators can do to help them. So given these data and having understood now that we serve these kind of students, understanding the students' need is another big component of how we can serve them well, right? we have to understand the cultural sensitivity and the awareness and asking these questions. So when I did the survey, I didn't ask their name. I told them it's anonymous. We have to be careful to protect them and have them feel the comfort, right? We are here to serve for their language and literacy needs, and we know they have those barriers. For that too, we have to really understand what their educational background is from their country. So just to give you a little story, I was a teacher a while ago, as Sharice mentioned. And so I had this student, it was in an intermediate ESL class. We were doing an activity, and I was just asking students to share about their families, their children. There was this student, Jumana, I still remember so vividly and so clearly, I would never forget that day. And she just started crying in class, right? The reason being, she had just moved from Syria. She was a refugee, and she had to leave her son back there. She couldn't bring her son. She brought her daughter here. So these are little things that as we serve our students, we have to be informed of the trauma they might have gone through. And how do we, address those issues and still understand the need of our students. Another example, for example, the second one the last bullet that I have, the name game. When we were enrolling students in 2014, 15, 13, 14, 15, I noticed that a few of our students had no first name. And the student, when I asked the student, what's your name? That student said, FNU, FNU. And I kept wondering, what do they mean by FNU, right? And then what I learned is that the State Department, when they don't know what name to give for new immigrants, because in some cultures there are no second names like we have here, or the family name. So that's what they say, family unknown. FNU stands for family name unknown. Think of that. Our names are important to us. I remember my friend and colleague, Neda Anisari, did a wonderful presentation on the name game and how the name of each student has so much significance to a person, the pronunciation of their names. These are little things, but in our ESL classes, our teachers, how important it is for us to understand and find out the correct pronunciation of the student and try to help pronounce their name, because that gives belonging or not belonging in a new country, right? They come in with so much and background that we are not sure what they had gone through. By at least pronouncing their names correctly, we have to give that kind of respect for and bringing in them the belongingness to this new culture. So that's just a little bit on understanding the needs. And then at our school, we've been trying to do some of these different ways of serving. Some of the ways we serve here are creating inclusive learning environments by going to these workshops that talk about equity, inclusion, understanding culture. We've learned over time, and this is the importance for us as administrators to continue to provide these supports through CALPRO, OTAN, and on these professional development for our teachers, so that we have a community where we are being culturally responsive to the teaching practices of the day, of the new things that are happening in our culture, right? Incorporating diverse materials. For a long time, when I first started teaching ESL, I remember the material was not appropriate for adult ed students or for immigrant students. So we are now doing a lot of that by bringing them into lesson planning, bringing teachers of diverse cultures so that we include some of those things. And fostering a sense of community and belonging. Some of the other things that we do are providing social emotional support. And this in our school, I will show at the end, there is a resource where one of our teachers has taken the responsibility of curating a lot of the support that we can provide to our students, like housing, food banks, and other resources in the community, like going for immigration support services through Catholic Charities, or we bring TODAC to our school once or twice a year, or we have the contact person at TODAC to refer our students to. Building a supportive network within the school. All of our teachers are now also, there is a very good workshop on CALPRO that was a while ago. I don't know if it must be still there. It's called Teachers as Advisors. So once teachers go and attend these sessions, they get to understand this ways of advising students, how to advise students, how to share resources with our students. Collaborating with community resources is another thing that we do on a regular basis by bringing TODAC and Catholic Charities, and United Way is our partner. Leveraging the government programs and initiatives. So most of us, we are required to go to those workforce investment boards and opportunities meetings, monthly meetings, and we get support from 211s, and we have 211 flyer in every classroom on our campus, just so that our students know, just they can dial 211 and get support. So those are some things that we do here. And here I share with you this picture of our students working as groups, creating inclusive, interactive lessons and learning environments, and then helping them meet their goals to become citizens. Some of the other activities we do are those classroom activities where they're always getting up and talking to each other and supporting each other, and the teachers building community in the classes. We also have been able to use the WIOA dollars, the IELC funds, and do some IET program. And all of our IET classes are for EL students, and that includes all of our EL learners, new immigrants, as well as refugees. This here is a picture of our second cohort of the nurse assistant training program that was completed just December last year. This here is a picture of the first cohort of our students. We had 15 seats. Of the 15, 11 of them are EL learners. So we ended up making this into an IET class. And as you can see from the picture, we've immigrant students and refugee students, and serving the students with the funding that we have and just the resources, stretching the resources to the optimum utilization. Also, some of the lessons learned from doing all of these is that we think we're doing our best, but sometimes it so happens that students did not, without doing the research to find out what is it that the students really need, sometimes we may miss the mark. So as we do more, we learn from them and we grow. So here I'd like to share a few stories of our students. The first one is Luma's story. The pictures are not the true student, but you will see them. Can you see my video coming up?
Hi everyone, my name is Luma Dawood. I'm a civil engineer. I have master's degree in environmental engineering from my country. 10 years ago, I had to take a huge decision in my life. I decided to bring my children, my family to America, leaving everything behind, everything I loved, seeking for a better life and safety for me and for my children. But when I came to America, for the first year, I isolate myself from everyone. I stay at home because of the language. And then after that, I start taking English classes in adult school. And it shows me learning English is the golden key to involve myself in the community. It makes me more confidence as a person and as a mom, and involve me with my kids' life, even in school. And it's just not learning English in this school. I learn a lot from the others' experience, and I learn about the certificate classes. I took most of the classes that school offered, and that's helped me to get a job. So instead of being a student for this school, I work now as a community assistant. And with this job, I try to help others the way the school helped me by providing them the ways to evaluate their degrees and their like even high school diploma from their countries, and help them how to write down resume and help them how to look for jobs. There is many resources for jobs, and I help them with these steps to make them like choose the right way to live their lives here in America. Because most of the students I help is like the same like I came. All of them have different backgrounds, comes from different countries, and the point of that job or like with the students is to get a better life for me and for them. Thank you.
I'm going to transition to my slide. Can you see my slide now?
We can see it. Can you maximize it and make it a little bit bigger?
There.
Yes.
Okay, so I don't want to take up all the time, and I want to save enough time for my colleague who's also going to present. Rebecca and Muhammad are waiting. So there's a little bit more from Haroon and a little bit from Maria's story, but basically, like you said, the needs are different. For Maria, it's about helping her children do better in school. For Haroon, it's about helping his family. He has a family of 9, and they moved from Afghanistan, and their needs are different. So learning to support our students based on their needs is something that I just focused on this one. So feel free to watch the others. I'll drop the link to my presentation at the end of my presentation here. There are 3 more slides, so I'll move on to the next slide. So what next for our school? Basically, my leadership team and I looked to see what we should do to continue doing all these things. And our parent center has been wonderful in developing and starting a new mental wellness or health and wellness center. So we have been in collaboration with our parent center to send our students to them as needed. As we feel that, okay, student needs this kind of support, we refer them to that. We also are planning an adult education week that we do every year. And this year it's going to be in the last week of March. And during that week, we make sure we invite TODAC and Catholic Charities to come and do presentation and workshop sessions and one-on-one meeting after the presentations. Our community assistant, you just watched her speak. She was my student when I was teaching ESL, and now she has become a community assistant for our school. Her job is basically to help other students get their international education credentials done and connect them to jobs. And at the end of my presentation, there will be some resources that you can, those are links that shows the resources that Luma has developed. And the last step here is we have recently just collaborated with somebody from Employment Development Department who works for the Welfare to Work division. And that person's work with us is to do the Entrepreneurship 101 classes where our students can learn to start their own businesses, like doing business as, how do they start up a business, what business plan they could have. So that's something that we wanted to support our students who come to us who are highly trained or educated from other countries and would rather start something fast than to wait to get into a career. So those are some of the things we have planned next. And so we wanted to do a little bit of a conclusion. I was going to do an interaction, but instead I will just let this be because it's better to give the time to my next presenter. And then these are the resources. I really wanted to share these resources because they are hyperlinks that go straight to the International Credential Evaluation. And this goes to our website, and I will be happy to, you're all welcome to download a copy from our website and adapt it for your needs, or I'll be happy to send you one if you want. This is how to get the foreign degree evaluation. There are some five different agencies we have vetted for our student. We call them and confirmed about their cost and processing time, so that our students who come from countries where they've already got their higher degrees can get them evaluated as fast as possible. Then I'm going back to the other slide to show the other one. Here is another resource that is to help our students apply to jobs on EdJoin. You see how our districts have a lot of jobs at the district that our students can apply for, but the problem is to navigate those websites is really, really difficult. This guide here helps our students so it tells them step by step how to apply, what they should have ready before they start applying for those jobs. We've got at least 4 or 5 of our students jobs at the district as paraeducators and custodian staff, and even some of them, we've even had the opportunity to guide students to go and get the CBEST so that they can become substitutes at the district. And these have all been things that LUMA has been doing. And last but not the least, there's one more resource which I'd like to share. This is the Offering Hope. It's a Padlet that goes to our website as well. And like I said earlier, one of our teachers does this on a regular basis just because she loves doing things like this. She would be uploading material for our students in terms of where they can get food, low-cost food or free food, housing resources, or how to pay for housing, community resources, and job information at the district. So these are some of the things I have shared. Feel free to download them and to tweak them for your needs, or feel free to reach out to me. With that, I think I will wrap up.
Thank you, Dr. Rublitis. This is great information, great resources. I saw lots of questions in the chat. We are posting links to the items in Toybee's Drive, and we'll share the presentation resources that way. We also shared the link to our recorded webinars that we offer, and you will find this there in about a week. I'm going to now turn it over to Rebecca Sudis and Muhammad Amini, who will share about their program to support refugees and immigrants at Learning Quest. Rebecca.
Hi, thank you. Let me share my screen and get this going. You guys can all see it?
Yep, we can see it.
Okay, good. Okay, so thank you guys so much for being here and for letting us be a part of this. Me and my colleague Mohammed Amini, we're very excited to share with you some of our experiences and strategies that we're using right now in our ESL programs. But before I go into kind of what we're doing, I wanted to share just a little bit about Learning Quest, since I'm sure a lot of you may not have heard of it. So Learning Quest, we are a nonprofit organization that we provide adult education and educational services throughout Stanislaus County. We have been in the area for just over 30 years. We started off very small as a little tutoring center for adults wanting to improve their literacy skills. And then as we saw that need growing, so did we. We did that through our collaborations and partnerships with different school districts in the area, and especially our unique partnership with the Stanislaus County Library, which has allowed us to maximize state funding for literacy to serve in our area and then throughout our organization as well. We are currently serving about just over 640 students and then just over 100 children as well. So I'm just going to take briefly go over the services that we do provide before I jump into what we're doing with the refugee community. So we do offer high school equivalency classes. All the services that we offer is free for the public. We have free classes, free textbooks, free materials, so anything that they need, we have for them. If they're doing online classes, we have Chromebooks that we can loan out to them as well. So we are located all throughout Stanislaus County. So we've got in-person classes scattered around. We have online classes. And then for HSC, we do have a hybrid option for students who kind of want a mix of both. We do have a jail program. So we have HSC instructors who go in into the jail and do one-on-one tutoring with those students. They do tutoring for high school equivalency, for literacy, and then also for ESL. And then we have a growing college and career program. So we have transition specialists who work with the students to create strategic plans for them, to work on next steps, what they want to do, higher education, getting a better job, things like that. And then our adult literacy program. So this is our partnership with the Stanislaus County Library. This is where the majority of our one-on-one tutoring lies. About 2/3 of it is going to be more like classroom instruction. And then the one-on-one tutoring is more for the library program that we have. So it's free one-on-one tutoring for adults who either read at or below a 7th grade level. And then through the library partnership, we also have been providing their family literacy services and their now recently ESL services. We have a new program that started a few years ago. It's called Kids Quest. This is free one-on-one tutoring for children with dyslexia or other language-specific disorders. So this has been really taking off in the last couple of years. So we're really excited about that program. And then for ESL, this is my department. This is where we provide our ESL classes. We also have English conversation classes. The difference between the two is our English conversation is much more focused on the listening and speaking and conversation skills, whereas the ESL classes, it's kind of everything, reading, writing, vocabulary. And then through those classes is our partnerships with different school districts in the area. So they provide funding for the classes. They also provide the classroom space. So that's been really great in serving the parents in those areas in case transportation is an issue. The classes are right there in their neighborhood, so they're able to just walk to class if needed. We also have childcare at each of those sites, so parents are able to drop their kids off in our childcare program and then join the ESL class as well. And then we do have citizenship preparation classes as well. And then before we get into kind of the main part of this, I wanted to hear from you guys. And if you guys can just take a moment in the chat to answer this question, what do you see as critical components to supporting refugees and immigrants successfully? I'd love to hear from what you guys think. And all of the pictures that we have shared on these slides are from all of our actual students. This picture right here is from one of our award ceremonies. So let's see. Annie says help with registration process. Molly, personalized support with training, definitely. Oh, they're going so fast, it's hard to read them. Yvonne says an opportunity to form community, volunteering, working, student council. Laura says removal of barriers, communication, transportation, childcare. Yeah. Christina says the same thing. Yeah, that's a big one. Transportation, childcare, those are some of the biggest barriers that we're seeing as well. Casey says providing a safe, comfortable environment, developing community. These are all really good. Tammy says advertising the program in various languages. That's very important. That's something that we'll talk about a little bit. Barbara said personal attention to career transition or career development, helping the elderly to make connections and feel safe and welcomed. These are really good. Okay. Thank you guys so much for sharing. I appreciate that. I love hearing what you guys are doing. Some of it is kind of aligned to what we're going to be talking about. Thank you guys. Okay. No. To move forward. There we go. Okay, so how we're serving our refugee community. So for our programs, we're currently serving about 340 students across all of our programs, and 66 of those are refugees from the Middle East. So we've seen, we get students from Syria, from Iran, but the majority is from Afghanistan. And that's been a huge increase in the last 5 years. So 5 years ago, we were having maybe like 10, 15 students for the whole year. And now we're already, we're getting up to 70, and we're still enrolling more and more students. So we're definitely had seen a huge need and a huge increase over the last couple years. So with our partnership with the Stanislaus County Library, they came out with a new funding for specifically ESL learners. And so with that, we wanted to try and target the refugees in our area. And so the first thing that we wanted to do is hiring a team member that was from the community. Somebody who spoke the language, who understands the culture, who can help us kind of bridge that gap, and how we can reach them better and offer these services to them, which is what we did with Mohammed Amini, who you'll hear from in just a moment. He'll be talking more about outreach and barriers and things like that, but he's been with us for just over a year, and it's really helped us to reach that community better. Something we also have been doing is translating all of our documents into Farsi and Arabic. So all of our marketing materials, all of our enrollment forms. We also do surveys with our students a couple times a year, and so those are translated as well. And then we let the students know that they can write their feedback in their own language, since we have someone who can translate. And I think that's really helped us get some honest feedback and get more ideas of what they're looking for, what are their goals, what's important to them, what are their barriers, things like that. And then something we also have been doing is understanding the barriers that are unique to them. Mohammed's going to talk more about that, but definitely getting the feedback from our students has really helped us to kind of implement that into our programs and try and make it easier for them to come to class, or providing childcare and things like that. Also providing a curriculum that's more relevant to their needs. So we have, I have a great lead ESL instructor who works a lot with the co-ops through CASAS, those EL civic objectives, and selecting based on our students' goals and their needs. We kind of select an objective that is relevant to them, something that they're looking to improve on. So we've really utilized those a lot. We also have flexibility in our classrooms and our curriculum. So our instructors are able to really hone in on their goals, or if they're going through some type of issue at home or anything like that, we can help them with that. Also being culturally aware and empathetic, obviously. We do a training every year. So we hire seasonal staff. So we get a new team kind of every year. So we'll do some cultural training, cultural awareness training. We review all of the countries that we've been serving, where our students are from, and review their culture and their religion and things like that. So our instructors have a better understanding of where our students are coming from. Something else we do is also investing in our students. So we do have a lot of part-time positions working with childcare, and we've been able to hire quite a few of our students into the childcare program. So they're our students, and as they advance with us, then they're able to take on these job opportunities. So that's something that we've been really excited to do. We actually just hired one of our students from Afghanistan on Friday. So we're very excited to have her start with us. I'm gonna hand this over to Mohammed so he can talk about his outreach efforts and the barriers that he's seeing. So I'll send it over to him.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Rebecca. Just I want to talk a little bit about my strategies about outreach, how can communicate with the Afghan communities, and how can enroll the ESL students in our program. Just uh, for all our ESL classes or all our activities that we have in our under the ESL department, we have flyers. Uh, I can communicate with the Afghan communities, different sources that I have access to them through the some Afghan markets, or maybe they have some community leaders. So I reach to them, and then I distribute and share this information that we have these classes and these opportunities are available for you, and then they will interest and they will contact us. And also I have some communication with other non-profit organizations that they are working with refugees in terms of resettlement, like World Relief, IRC, or Council on American Islamic Relations. So just I mentioned these three non-profit organizations that they are working in our county. So they are working in Modesto and Turlock. So they contact me and they send me through the email, or they call me, or maybe sometimes I receive some message from their clients to enroll their clients or those Afghan newcomers that they arrived in here and they are looking for ESL classes, and we can enroll them in our program. And also sometimes Afghan communities, they have some monthly meetings or some events. They can call me or they can reach me out, and then I will participate. It doesn't matter is it during the official time or after the official time. So during the weekends I can participate to that events, and then I, if they want to enroll any ESL classes, and then I can collect their information. Uh, Sometimes they are not only interested in our ESL classes. Sometimes there are some students they are looking for GED program, because we have this service also. So uh, these are my strategies that I can communicate with the communities to enroll the students in our ESL classes. Next slide, please, Rebecca. Thank you. So what barriers or what difficulties or what challenges these newcomers or these refugees have when they arrive in here? Just I mentioned in here, as our ESL classes are English for life and work, just they are looking for English to improve their language, to problem these barriers. So due to inability to speak English, they are not able to try to get a job. Sometimes, or they are not able to complete basic tasks like shopping. This is very important. They are not able to filling out forms. Sometimes they want to go to medical store, they have an appointment for themselves or maybe for their kids, so they are not able to fill out a forms. uh, and also they need to speak with their child's teacher, and they have problem with the cultural barriers. It means this environment is completely new for them. And also we have students that they have problem with the class schedule, because they have kids and they are looking how can they adjust their time to come the class, and also they have someone at home to watch their kids. This is another problem for our ESL learners. And also they have a lot of problem accessing services. In this community there are a lot of services, especially community services, but they don't know. We are able to cover these things in our ESL classes to address them, and then we can share them. You can go to this community or this place to access your service. And also we there are a lot of ESL learners that they want to obtain a driver license, but they don't know English. Due to this problem, they are not able to get their driver license. So these are all, yeah, the barriers that the newcomers, especially, as I know, a lot of Afghan refugees that they came, yeah, and they moved to the United States and they are living in Modastu or Turlock, and especially in this county that we are working. So they have problem. Fortunately, our program or the ESL classes that we have, we cover these topics to address these barriers. So these are my part, and just I want to turn over to Rebecca again.
Thank you. I forgot to mention something else that we do in the classrooms, and this picture reminded me because it's what she's doing. So through the EL Civic objectives, one of them is like a cultural diversity objective. And so it's a really fun kind of like all about me project that all of our students do in the classrooms, and they get to really brag about their country and where they're from, their traditions, holidays, things like that. So that's what the student's doing here. And we found that really helps to like bring a sense of community within the classroom. And it really brings our students who are from different countries together. And it's fun to see them kind of create these friendships afterward. I know we're getting close to time, so I'll be quick. But some things that we have coming up next. So we're going to be introducing some intro level classes. So we've seen with our Afghan students that they're at a very low beginning ESL level, more so than kind of the majority of our beginning level classes. They're learning a whole new alphabet. They're learning the way we write is the opposite from where they write. So they kind of have to retrain their brain. And then also a lot of our students never went to school in their own country. So so they never learned how to read and write in their language. So when they're coming here, they're learning literacy skills as well as learning a whole new language. So we're going to be starting to add more introductory level classes where they can really practice on like writing and learning the alphabet, simple vocabulary. So that's something that we've noticed and we're going to be bringing in the next few months. We're also going to be adding additional tutoring options. So Mohammed has been working to recruit some more volunteer tutors who are a little more comfortable and excited to be working with students who are at that very beginning level, because it can be very challenging to work with somebody who doesn't speak English at all. So we're working on building that part. We have parent and child time classes that we do in the springtime just before summer. So it's a great way to get our families together, the parents and the childs doing activities and things like that. And then it prepares them for when the kids are stuck at home with the parents and gives them some ideas of what they can do. We have summer ESL and conversation classes that are coming up. We usually have a long gap, but we've been lucky that we're going to be able to provide summer classes. And then something new that's coming up that we're really excited about is this event, Culture Fest. And so basically it's going to be a really fun family event that is, we're featuring a country for each event. So in March, it's going to be featuring Mexico, and we're going to be doing a whole thing on piñatas. So some pinata buildings. We're going to be doing story times that has to do with the history of the pinata. And then we'll be giving away some bilingual books as well. And then in November, we're going to have another Culture Fest event, and it's going to be focusing on the Afghan culture and their New Year. So we're really excited for that. That's coming up. And that's what we have so far. I have our contact information up here. I've included Juliana Sargis. She is our lead ESL instructor. She's created all of our curriculum, and she has a lot of knowledge. She does a lot of workshops. Actually, this morning she's down at Burbank Library doing a training on who is an ESL learner. So I just wanted to put her information up there. And she builds all of the objective rubrics that we're doing as well. So thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Rebecca and Mohammed, for sharing what happens at Learning Quest and your programs that support immigrants and refugees. This is great. I hope that during the webinar today, you have learned some ideas, that you've been able to share some ideas. I see a lot happening in the chat, and that this has benefited you in terms of thinking about how your program can do more and really understanding the value of why it's important to do more as we consider how we support immigrants and refugees in our programs. I'm going to ask Josie if you can bring up the last slide. We want you to let us know what you thought of this webinar. We want to thank you for your time here. There's a QR code and a bit.ly link. Josie has put the bit.ly link in the chat. We do these webinars every quarter. So the next one will be towards sometime in March. And we want it to make sure that it is relevant to you and timely with what you need. It's an hour to get some great information. So I thank you for your time. I thank our presenters for their time sharing. And I always like to end with saying, again, my time is up, and I thank you for yours. Thank you so very much. Have a great rest of the afternoon. Good to see so many amazing familiar faces. Bye-bye.